He admitted he thought his new head coach didn't even like him. He admitted the relationship was fragile. But now, Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson aren't just on the same page. They are rewriting the entire history of this franchise. And Caleb just dropped a quote that will make you want to run through a brick wall. What is going on, Bears fans? Welcome back. Look, we have got an absolutely packed update today because the curtain is finally being pulled back on what is really happening inside Hallis Hall. We have massive injury updates on Rome Odunze and the defense, but the things Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson just said to the media? It changes everything about how we view this Super Bowl run. We are going to break it all down right now. But before we do me a huge favor, hit that like button, share this video with a fellow diehard, and make sure you are subscribed so you never miss a beat of this special season. Let's kick this off with the news we have all been praying for. Finally, we have some clarity on the Rome Odunze situation. Ben Johnson stepped up to the podium today and dropped a bombshell of relief on Chicago. He confirmed that Rome Odunze is officially expected to return at some point this season. Now, the million-dollar question is, when? Right. Ben didn't give us a specific date, but listening to him talk about Rome's foot injury, the vibe was overwhelmingly positive. He said, and I quote, "We've been working through his rehab process. He's right on track. He's going to be in a good spot. He's going to be able to help us this year." Stop and think about how huge that is. We aren't talking about just getting a body back. We are talking about getting a game record back. Even if Rome isn't 100%, even if he is only at 80%, his presence changes the geometry of the entire field. We saw what he was doing earlier in the year before the production dipped, which we now know was because he was gritting his teeth and playing through that foot injury. That is toughness. That is the kind of guy you want in the foxhole with you in January. I want to be realistic with you guys. I'm not expecting him to come back week 18 and drop 8 catches for 110 yards immediately. But if he can give you 3 to 5 catches? If he can pull a double team? If he can just be out there to terrify a defensive coordinator? That is a win. We have so many weapons on this offense, but Rome garners a different level of respect. So, when do we see him? My gut feeling? You don't risk him this week. I think you look at week 18 or, more likely, you unleash him fresh for the first round of the playoffs. Imagine the boost that gives the locker room. It sounds like, barring a setback, number 15 is suiting up again. But honestly, with the way this offense is clicking right now, does it even matter who is on the field, or is Ben Johnson's system just that bulletproof at this point? Now, while the offense is getting healthy, the defense is dealing with some serious adversity. We have to talk about the secondary because it is looking a little thin for this massive showdown against the 49ers on Sunday night. Brad Biggs reported that during the open media session, neither Rome nor rookie sensation Luther Burden III were on the field. That was expected. But the big one? CJ Gardner-Johnson was also missing. Ben Johnson was a little cagey about CJ, saying they are working through it and waiting on the final injury report, but the whispers I'm hearing? It sounds like we avoided a disaster. It's likely a hyperextended knee or an MCL sprain. That is usually a week-to-week situation. If I had to make an educated guess, we probably won't see CJ for the rest of the regular season. The goal now is preservation. You shut him down, you get him right, and you hope he is flying around like a maniac for the wild card round. Or better yet, the divisional round if we snag that 1 seed. Ben also mentioned Kyler Gordon could be back for the postseason. So, picture this, the playoffs start, and suddenly you're adding CJ Gardner-Johnson, Kyler Gordon, and Rome Odunze back into a lineup that is already 11-4. That is a nightmare for the rest of the NFC. In the short term, though, it means we are leaning on Nick McCloud at the nickel spot. And look, I'm not going to sit here and trash Nick McCloud. He is a journeyman for a reason, but he fights. He competes. Is he a liability? No. Is he CJ Gardner-Johnson? Absolutely not. But he made some plays against Green Bay earlier this year, and we need him to step up again. Also, a quick note on the offensive line depth. The Bears opened the 21-day practice window for Luke Newman. You remember him stepping in for Jonah Jackson earlier this year and holding his own for 20 snaps? Getting a depth piece like that back before a playoff run is underrated gold. You can never have enough big bodies in January. This brings me to the big topic of the day, and I want you to flood the comments section with your answer on this one. When you look at this roster getting healthy at the perfect time, and you see the 11-4 record, how far do you genuinely believe this team goes? Are we just happy to be there and it's a one and done scenario? Is it NFC Championship or bust? Or do you truly believe this team is winning the Super Bowl this year? Let me know your prediction down below. Alright, let's get to the main event. Caleb Williams. The press conference he gave today was, in my opinion, the most mature, leader-like moment of his young career. He showed us a level of vulnerability that you rarely see from franchise quarterbacks, and it explains so much about why this team is winning. He was asked about his relationship with Ben Johnson. And remember, all offseason, the national media tried to tear this apart. They said Caleb wouldn't fit Ben's system. They said Ben was too strict. And Caleb admitted today that early on, he wasn't sure if it was going to work. Listen to this. Caleb said, "I felt like our relationship was pretty fragile. From my perspective, I was like, geez, this dude doesn't seem to like me. He doesn't have to like me." That's what you kind of realize. You start figuring out that's just him. That is incredible insight. Caleb Williams, the #1 overall pick, the superstar, actually thought his head coach didn't like him because Ben Johnson was so intense and demanding. But then Caleb realized something crucial. Ben doesn't hate him. Ben is obsessed with winning. Ben cares so much about the sport and this team that he isn't here to be your best friend during practice. He is here to make you great. This confirms everything we heard in training camp. Remember the reports? We heard Ben Johnson was running a military-style camp. He was grinding these guys into the dirt. And let's be honest, we needed that. This team was soft under Matt Eberflus. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. They were mentally soft. They didn't practice hard. We used to hear stories about guys stretching for an hour and practicing for 20 minutes. Not anymore. Ben Johnson broke them down to build them back up. He built calluses on this team. And that is why, when things get tough in the fourth quarter, this team doesn't fold anymore. They fight. Ben Johnson spoke about this too. He said, "I think what I've grown to love about him is I think we're very mentally similar. We share a lot of the same competitive drive. They are the same guy. They are both maniacal competitors who will do anything to win." Ben challenged Caleb to get under center. He challenged him to master the play-action game. He challenged him to clean up the pre-snap penalties. Remember week 1? It was a disaster of false starts. Now, Caleb is controlling the game like a 10-year vet. His eyes are in the right place. He is hitting that backside dig route to Jody Walker for 15 yards because he is reading the whole field. And the best part? Caleb isn't satisfied. He was asked about the joy of turning this franchise around and making the playoffs, and his answer should be printed on a banner and hung in Soldier Field. He said, "I got drafted here, told that I'm not a special player, told that I'm not a good fit here, told I can't win here. My goal isn't just to get to the playoffs. My goal is to win and to win big. I'm going to keep my head down, for this city to be proud. My goal is to win and to win big." That is the difference. The "just happy to be here" era is dead. The "we'll get him next year" era is dead. This team, led by that quarterback and that head coach, believes they can take it all. Ben Johnson said it himself. Caleb bails him out. Ben calls a perfect game, but sometimes the defense wins a rep, and Caleb just makes magic happen. It is the perfect marriage of structure and talent. We could be looking at the next great duo in NFL history for the next decade. But right now, they aren't worried about the next decade. They are worried about the 49ers. They are worried about the #1 seed. The NFC is wide open. The AFC is wide open. Why not us? Why not now? This is the most exciting time to be a Chicago fan in practically 40 years. The culture has shifted. The quarterback is the real deal. The coach is a genius. And the injured stars are coming back for the hunt. Buckle up, Chicago. It's about to get legendary. That is going to do it for today's update. I'm fired up, and I hope you are too. We will be back with more news as we get closer to Sunday night. Until then, bear down,